.5 Soufriere FM. It's now 10 minutes after the hour, 15 minutes after the hour of 10 a.m. in Surface St. Lucia, and of course the Eastern Caribbean. I'm just excited. It's a beautiful Wednesday despite the cloudy weather. In studio with me, as always, our program director of Waterways, Sonia Nadia Kazabo. I put a cat before the horse, so
Yes, you
he's
did.
smiling. Nonetheless, it's a beautiful day to our listeners. I say good morning to you. Welcome inside another broadcast of House Guests. It's the 27th day of September 2023. Oh my, how time flies. Let me welcome you to our panel. As always, it's a pleasure. And today we're here to discuss the upcoming cleanup campaign consultation as well as the updates on a Dopt River project. And I'm so sorry I haven't fulfilled, the promise I made as yet, but I will.
Thank you very much, Gabrina. It's a pleasure to be here, and to DJ Cullen as well. Um, Good morning, everybody, and thank you for having me again. Let's have a very good discussion. I hope we can get some persons to call in this morning.
I am looking forward to that as well. The last consultation we had right here, you did indicate persons who were interested in actually adopting the Rver project, they would be guided as to the necessaries. How has that been on the ground?
Okay, so for the Adopt a River project, which is a Jeff funded project, we are in the planning phase of it. So we are sensitizing the community, sensitizing groups, sensitizing businesses about this upcoming project so that when we are ready for us to start actually putting persons in teams or for persons to register their groups that would adopt different sections, everybody would be in the know as to what is happening. So what we're doing right now here this morning is just to raise the level of awareness, like to let people know that, hey, this project is going to be happening next year. We are planning on attempting to clean the Soufriere River to regain the river as a source of water, so that when we need it in the event of a disaster, it doesn't even have to be a disaster, so we can have our river up to a standard where we could be having regular river lines, generate some income from that in areas that is viable. So we want to clean up the river to a point where the water quality is of a standard that persons can go and bathe in it and have no issues or no fears of catching any illness.
And I think it comes at an opportune time. If we look at the weather patterns we've had as well, so I think the cleaning, the desilting, and everything else pertaining to the processes are necessary. Also, if you were to speak of again, you were speaking of the cleaning the river, but in the practices, if it's not being put in place or implemented, much less, it would be like a wasted effort sometimes, because this is not even the first time that that has happened.
Yes. So the Soufriere River was being used sort of like the Canaries River very, very frequently in the 60s and 70s. And around that time, there was a bilharzia scare. There was a worm that was living in a snail found in the river, that when persons were walking in the river barefooted, there was a high possibility of that person getting infected by bilharzia. That worm would enter the broken skin for the whether it is on the foot or the hand, wherever the person has that wound, and then that person would catch bilharzia. So the government decided at that point to send the message out that the river was dirty for people to stop using the river. And it has perpetuated ever since. I mean, we don't have any bilharzia in our waters anymore, so persons should not be continue dumping and abusing the river, so that the water quality would improve and that we'll be able to use our river. Stop dumping garbage. So our project is to try to clean up the Soufriere River of solid waste, to raise a level of awareness that the river is not a dumping ground. We have regular waste collections twice a week and bulk waste collections once a week. We are hoping through this project for us to engage in discussions with the communities, with people who are interested, for us to see how we can curb this bad habit we have in Soufriere, in St. Lucia on a whole, of throwing garbage on the road. And you take somebody who would be littering in Soufriere and bring them to a country where they'll be fined for littering and they will not do it. So why do it in our own country? I mean, let charity begin at home. Let's take care of what we have here. When anything happens, it's affecting us. We are already experiencing the effects of climate change with heat, with drought. When we have no water in our taps, people resort to going to the river. But how can you go to the river if the water quality is not good? In the event of a disaster like a hurricane from Hurricane Thomas, I was appalled when I saw people bathing in the Soufriere River. That could have been a case of somebody getting some serious illness. I saw people blocking the drain by Miss Allet lower down Soufriere FM, collecting water and bathing in the gutter. It's a desperate time, desperate situation, but people have to be aware of what's happening. So let us try to clean up our river so that when we need to use it, we will have it and it will be available, and the water quality will be of a standard where we should be able to use it. So it's up to us to take the bull by the horns and do something drastic, hold each other responsible. So we are raising the level of awareness now with persons. We have a consultation coming up next week, Thursday. And that is one of my main objectives here this morning, is to invite the public to attend this consultation next week, Thursday, starting at 5:30 at the St. Isidore Hall. I will be presenting on the project. We will have persons presenting on the water quality and how it would impact your health, how it impact businesses, tourism in Soufriere in particular. And we're doing this jointly with the SMMA. So I'll be presenting on some of the results of the water quality studies that SMMA and Waterways has been doing throughout the past years. And then we will have a discussion with persons on what do you think we can incorporate in our project to ensure that the project is successful, to ensure that at the end of the project, people are aware and they would stop littering, people are aware and they will be taking better care of the the river, the Soufriere River.
Okay. As much as I can really sit here and say those consultations are really, really important, sometimes it's just a handful of persons when they're actually taking place for people to really come and get involved and get the appreciation and understanding of what is happening. And it's always, I didn't know that happened. Oh, I didn't hear of it. You understand? So I'm happy you're here again trying to reach the medium to let them know this is happening here next week. But then I also think more has to be done in terms of the awareness. If it's an audio, maybe that has to actually be on rotation as well, so you can get the attendance that you're looking for, as well as
We
the
will be having a town crier going around to announce
definitely.
it. It's on social media already. We have persons who are sharing it, sharing the flyers on their WhatsApp, on Facebook, on Instagram. And we would just like to see a good turnout from people in Soufriere for them to come and hear what's happening and for them to give their input. Because if the water quality in the Soufriere River is bad, by extension, is going to be affecting the water quality in the Soufriere, on the Soufriere beach. And you'd be surprised to know the salt water doesn't kill all bacteria. People have that myth that Lola may catch it with bagay. Ça pas vrai, hein? The salt water kills some bacteria, but the really bad ones, they don't die in the salt water. You understand? And it will take some time, even though it hits salt water, it will take about 2 to 3 days before bacteria will really start to die to a level that it would be safe enough. So we need to start thinking very seriously about how we're disposing of our garbage, what else is it that we're disposing of in the Soufriere River, and how it's impacting not just the marine life, but human life as well.
um, Maybe it's an idea, as well as those various consultations are necessary. I think the communities, especially looking at the Palmits area as well as the Barons Drive, we need to have proper, disposable
Facilities, yes. So
facilities for
I will not hide and say
storing.
that's one of my biggest flaws, is that I speak frankly and I don't sugarcoat anything. I can be diplomatic when I choose to, but right now I will not be. We have an issue in Soufriere that needs to be addressed, and it requires a multi-sectoral approach. It requires cooperation from persons who need assistance. And I'm not going to put them down, because if you are renting a place and the house that you're renting does not have a toilet facility, number one, the tenant needs to make arrangements for you, but you as on your own also need to do something. It's affecting the community. We have persons who are disposing of their night soil, their what we call it part of their butchie,
It's true.
in the Soufriere River, in the ravines, in the drains. Especially when it rains, people profit the opportunity for them to dump their
Number two.
no, their butchie.
No,
We don't reach
I
up to
don't know
by
what's
it.
budgie, so number two is fine.
The night soil
Oh,
into the drains, into the river, into the ravines. Now, we've had several years ago, we've had experts come in, look at the communities, and propose different solutions that government needs to jump on to figure out how do we alleviate that. But other than government doing that, people on their own can start to help themselves. I mean, I know that there is a job that some people have at 3 a.m. They pass around collecting from households and they go and they dispose of it however they so choose. So in Barron Drive, for instance, what we found out from that SMMA project was that the problem with sewage disposal in Barron's Drive does not stem primarily from Barron's Drive residents. It's people who are coming from Upper Church Street, Upper Victoria Street in that area to dispose of night soil in the ravine in Barron's Drive, and it's affecting the community down there. Palmis had some different issues. Palmis have toilet facilities where you have to pay. It's cost prohibitive. It closes at a certain point in time. And then there was just a group of people who insist that no matter what was done, they would still continue to go and relieve themselves in the open air. They consider them it's I don't know what that's not the Rastafarian way of living.
so really and truly, is it how easy can this be discontinued? I mean, given efforts from so many entities trying to, elevate such situations and stuff, is it something where you think we need more public facilities?
I don't think we need more public facilities. We need to look at the solutions that were proposed. One of them was to have what is called, for Palmas area, satellite toilets with plumbing to an artificial wastewater treatment facility that would have been ideally situated on the other side of Palmerston around the Fort Benning area. That way, everybody would have a toilet at their homes, and once they flush a toilet, the piping would take the sewage to that treatment facility. There was another option of having a central disposal area. So, for the persons who are unable to have a satellite toilet, when they are ready to dispose of their waste, they would go to that area to dispose of it. So not necessarily a toilet. It would look like a receptacle, like a toilet. You can just empty everything in, wash out your container, and then go back on your way. But there's a stigma associated with that. People don't want. Some persons have a sense of pride that they wouldn't want to be doing that. So there's a lot of different issues that were raised, and it's time that we really grab this issue by the horns and deal with it, because it's creating a problem for us, a real problem for us in the community that persons are not even aware of. So come out on Thursday. I will let you know what the results are.
Thank you very much. And even going back to a few years back, where I was present, of course, with the verbal students and the different statistics that was revealed and everything, from where we've seated, has much been improved, in short.
No.
Okay. So what's the other step?
The other step is what we're doing right now.
Okay.
So persons still view the river as a dumping ground. Unless we change that mindset, unless we become stewards of our own natural resources, stewards of our river, unless we see the value in having a clean river, nothing is going to change.
I think maybe we need to have more signage than ever, and maybe persons should be held accountable in terms of finding them as well.
You can address a solution by two means, either a stick or a carrot. Which one is going to get more persons to adhere to what you want? Some persons, you dangle a carrot and they would take it, they would do what they need to do just intrinsically because they know it's the right thing to do. Some persons just don't care. And for those persons, then you need to have the penalties and the fines. So environmental health is going to be there on Thursday as well for them to do a presentation. So it's It's not waterways that can solve the problem, but we need to have everybody coming on board. So, other than us getting the funding for us to get this done, we need the community to come on board and support us.
Okay. Kudos to Waterways as well and the other relevant entities. Interestingly, this ties nicely with the cleanup campaign. I'm excited to know about it happening this weekend.
Yes, so every year in September, there is what's called the International Coastal Cleanup. There are over 100 countries in the world participating, and the Caribbean Youth Environment Network is the coordinating agency for St. Lucia. This year, they have chosen to focus the cleanup in for 5 beaches that they're going to collect data for every year annually. The cleanup extends to other beaches, but I was able to get Soufriere to be one of those 5 main beaches that they are going to do every year. So for this Saturday, which is our date for the coastal cleanup in Soufriere, we are asking for persons who are interested to come out to assist in cleaning up the beach. We are looking at cleaning up from Margaret all the way across to behind the cemetery, the Soufriere Beach Park area. Normally, we would have Barons Drive take care of Margaret and the Barons Drive area. The Fishermen's Cooperative would take care of the mouth of the river and the area in front of the fisheries complex. And then we would have other persons who come on board to clean up the Soufriere Beach area. And then this year, I'm doing something special with the children. When you walk on the beach or you see children playing in the sand, there's a lot of trash in the sand that has broken up. There's something that we now have an issue that is rearing its head in St. Lucia called microplastics. Microplastics is what you get when plastic breaks down so small that it's from 5 millimeters and smaller. Some microplastics you cannot even see. There was a study done a few years ago where they tested fish in several Caribbean islands, and every single island they found plastic in the guts of fish. So for persons who eat fish guts, there's a possibility you're also eating microplastics in the fish guts. We need to take a special look at what is happening for us. The European Union banned microplastics as early as 2000 and about 2010. The US also banned microplastics in beauty products. What happened when those products were banned? We saw a heavy influx of them into the Caribbean. So all the facial cleansers with the small beads that they claim were exfoliating, you find that those things came in bulk and cheaper into the Caribbean islands and into Africa and other countries that had not banned it as yet, because the companies who made them needed to get rid of their product. They still wanted to sell it. So right now in the US, it's law that if you're making a facial cleanser, for instance, you have to use a natural product that is going to biodegrade as an exfoliant. Right? So they're using things like broken nutshells. Yes, broken nutshells that they make sure it's not sharp, and then they put that in the products instead. If you go out on the shelves in St. Lucia, you will still find products with microplastic beads in them.
Yes, you do.
We have not yet banned it. I know the Sustainable Development recently had a workshop that I attended looking at microplastics in particular. There are quite a few products that we still have coming into St. Lucia with microplastics in them. And we need to take a special look at that. And persons who know me know that I oppose the artificial turf in Soufriere, because part of the artificial turf is also microplastics. And anybody who goes on the field playing football or playing anything on the field, if you're sweaty, it sticks to your skin. When you go home and you shower, it goes down the drain. So that means it's in our river already. That means it's on our beaches already. What we will be doing with the students on Saturday is to have them sieve to filter the sand and for them to count the number of microplastics that they can identify in a small cup of sand.
Those think that is crystals.
And they think it's crystals.
Mhm. It's just so sad. Again, regarding Saturday, could you please speak to the time?
So for Saturday's beach cleanup at the Soufriere Beach Park area, we want persons to gather there from 8. Refreshments will be provided. We will be giving everybody gloves, of course, for safety. And we ask persons to walk with their water bottle because I'm not buying any plastic bottles. We have these big 5 gallon bottles of water with a dispenser, so you'll be able to refill your bottles from there. But we have refreshments when we're done.
Thank you so much for that. Again, advocating for the environment. I think it's a must for us to always keep our surroundings clean, and we have to remember whatever happens on land affects the environment and also sea life as well.
Persons need to check on the carbon footprint.
Yeah, they need to do that. They
Yes,
need to.
yes.
And we were hoping what comes out of the cleanup activity can be brought to light. Discuss again, a platform will be made available. Let us know how it was, what was received, and everything else for us. Because
No
for
problem.
persons like me who are not able to attend but would love to know, how it all got
Well,
executed.
CYN this year, I think, has hired a videography company to
Okay.
document the cleanups at all the 5 beaches because they want to put together some ads to let people know. When we did this last year,
As you mean like PSA?
yeah, PSAs.
Yes.
We had a 4 ton truck full of garbage,
That's a big trophy.
full of garbage that we got from the same area from Margaret Hood down to the Soufriere Beach Park area behind the cemetery. One year, I actually got the SMME rangers to take some persons because we had quite a few people volunteer across to just past the Bat Cave. And that area, that little piece of land, rocky area there, Rocky Beach area, it was appalling. When it rains, we know we always have a carpet of bottles floating on the sea. The current takes that and it pushes it up towards the Bat Cave.
Okay.
So when we went there to clean up, we didn't have enough garbage bags. We did not have enough garbage bags cleaning up that area. And there's nobody going there to bathe. It's all coming from what's happening on land, going into the river.
Yeah.
And then when it rains, it gets pushed across to that area. So I'm trying to see if we can get, depending on how many persons we get, if SMMA would be willing to allow the rangers to take a group across and then for them to clean up that area as well again.
Okay, but then I'm just about to say that in terms of the appeal, persons need to be aware, and you're here now for sure. Who can they contact if they're interested apart from you?
Contact the SMMA. I'm sure let the SMMA know they want to take part in the cleanup, and I will get the information from them. Or you can volunteer with the Barron Drive group or with the Super Fishermen's Cooperative group.
Again, this is happening
On
on
Saturday, 8 a.m. this Saturday coming.
Thank you so much. On that note, I would love for you to end with your final comments.
Just to remind persons that we have the cleanup on Saturday. I would love for persons to turn up in large numbers. We also have a very important public consultation on Thursday next week, 5:30 at the St. Isidore Hall, where we will be presenting on the water quality in the Soufriere River and giving you information about our upcoming project that we are planning. And we want your input on what we can do as part of the project to ensure that it is a success, what we can do to get people to volunteer to adopt sections of the river, because the project is asking persons to adopt sections of the river for them to keep it clean. And we would have a competition for a year with the different groups that have adopted the different sections to see which section remains the cleanest on a monthly basis. We're looking at giving out some good prizes for that year-long component. And then after that, we want people to continue doing it on their own. But to get the interest and to get persons and to get the group started, we're going to start up with a competition. And then the second year, it will be groups doing it on their own.
Okay.
So turn out this Saturday and on Thursday next week, 5:30 St. Isidore Hall. And then I'd like to say happy birthday to my cousin in the US, Finley.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. On that note, this is why I say thank you. It's a pleasure to always have you here with such an informative conversation. I look forward to again bringing us up to speed with the cleanup campaign and a reminder of next week's consultation. Thank you so much, Ms. Sonia Casabo, Project Director, Waterways.
Thank you. Have a